Winter vacations are meant to bring peace, joy, and a chance to escape the chaos of everyday life. But some escapes come at a price, one you'll wish you never paid. Tonight, we bring you a chilling story of a couple whose winter getaway in the mountains takes a dark and harrowing turn. Prepare yourself for Snowbound, a tale of isolation, fear, and the things that lurk in the cold. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, if you dare. It was supposed to be an idyllic winter getaway. Melissa and Andrew had been planning it for months. A cozy cabin nestled deep in the snowy hills of Vermont, surrounded by miles of untouched wilderness. No work emails, no interruptions, just them and the quiet of the season. But that kind of stillness has a way of magnifying things you don't want to see. The first flakes began falling as they left the main road, the narrow dirt path leading to the cabin quickly disappearing under a thick blanket of snow. Andrew tightened his grip on the steering wheel, his jaw set. "Relax," Melissa said, her voice light despite the growing storm. "This is exactly what we signed up for, remember? Winter wonderland and all that." Andrew forced a smile but didn't answer. The GPS had stopped working 20 minutes ago, and every bend in the road looked the same. A tunnel of skeletal trees and snow-laden branches. As the car climbed higher, the storm thickened, swallowing their tracks almost as soon as they made them. When the cabin finally came into view, relief washed over them. It was quaint, just like the pictures. A small A-frame with a wraparound porch and a chimney puffing smoke into the frosty air. Melissa's excitement was palpable as she stepped out of the car and into the ankle-deep snow. "Home, sweet home," Melissa said, opening the car door. The icy wind cut through her like a knife, but she didn't care. The cabin was perfect. Inside, the warmth was immediate. The owners had left the fireplace crackling, a string of dim Christmas lights casting a soft glow over the rustic interior. A faint smell of pine mingled with something older, more musty, but Melissa chalked it up to the age of the place. "This is exactly what we needed," she said. Andrew smiled and kissed her forehead. "Yeah, it's perfect." For the first few hours it was. They unpacked, cooked a simple dinner, and laughed as they drank wine by the fire. Outside, the storm raged, the wind howling like a living thing. But inside, everything felt safe, insulated, until the first strange noise. It came just as Melissa was dozing off on the couch, a soft, rhythmic tapping, faint but persistent. At first, she thought it was her imagination. Then she saw Andrew glance toward the window. "Did you hear that?" she asked, sitting up. "Probably just a branch," Andrew said, though his eyes lingered on the frosted glass. The storm outside had transformed into a swirling blizzard, the kind of whiteout that erased the world beyond the cabin walls. "It's too regular for a branch," Melissa said. She crossed the room and peered outside. Nothing but darkness and snow. "See, nothing there," Andrew said. "Come on, let's go to bed." Reluctantly, she let him lead her upstairs to the loft bedroom. But the noise stayed with her, gnawing at the edges of her mind. She woke in the middle of the night to a different sound, crunching snow. Slow, deliberate steps circling the cabin. Her heart pounded in her chest. "Andrew," she whispered, shaking him awake. "There's someone outside." He groaned, pulling the blanket over his head. "It's just the wind." "No," she insisted. "I heard footsteps." Andrew sighed, sitting up. "Okay, I'll check, but I promise you it's nothing." He grabbed the flashlight and padded downstairs. Melissa stayed in bed, clutching the blanket as she listened to the creak of floorboards and the soft click of the front door opening. The cold rushed in, and for a moment there was only silence. Then, "Hello?" Andrew called into the night. The answer was immediate. A low, guttural laugh so close it made Melissa's stomach drop. She bolted out of bed and ran to the top of the stairs. Andrew was frozen in the doorway, the flashlight shaking in his hand. "Andrew, get inside!" she screamed. He slammed the door shut, bolting it before turning to her. His face was pale, his eyes wide. "There's someone out there," he whispered. The next morning, the storm had eased, leaving the cabin buried in snow. Andrew insisted on going outside to check for tracks, despite Melissa's protests. When he returned, his expression was grim. "The steps lead into the woods," he said, "but there's only one set." One set? Like whoever it was came to the cabin, but never left. Melissa shivered, pulling her sweater tighter. "We need to leave. The cars snowed in. We're not going anywhere until the plow comes tomorrow." That day passed in a haze of tension. Every creak of the cabin made Melissa jump. The afternoon faded into evening, and then the knocking returned. This time, it came from the back door. Melissa grabbed a knife from the kitchen while Andrew armed himself with the fireplace poker. Together, they approached the door, their breaths visible in the frigid air. "Who's there?" Andrew called. No answer. Just 3 more knocks, slow and deliberate. "I'm calling the police!" Melissa shouted, though they both knew it was an empty threat. No signal, no help. Andrew flung the door open, raising the poker. The porch was empty, but on the ground, etched into the snow, were words, "Let me in." The final hours of the night were a blur. They barricaded the doors and windows, huddling together in the loft with the fire poker and knife between them. The knocking continued, moving from door to window to wall, relentless and mocking. Then came the singing, a faint, off-key rendition of a Christmas carol, carried on the wind. "Silent night, holy night." Melissa clamped her hands over her ears. "Make it stop," she begged. "Please make it stop." At dawn, the sound stopped. Melissa crept downstairs, her legs trembling, and opened the front door. There were no footprints in the snow, not a single mark to suggest anyone had been there. They left that morning, abandoning their belongings in their desperation to escape. When they reached the main road, they flagged down a passing truck. The driver, an older man with a thick New England accent, frowned as they recounted their story. "You're lucky you got out," he said. "People around here don't go near that cabin." "Why not?" Melissa asked, her voice barely a whisper. The man's eyes darkened. "Because it's been empty for years, ever since the last couple that stayed there disappeared." When they returned home, Melissa couldn't shake the feeling that they hadn't left it behind. Late at night, as she lay in bed, she would hear faint knocking in her dreams. Or was it dreams? After all, snow had begun to fall again. Sometimes the silence of winter hides more than peace. It hides secrets better left buried. What would you have done in their place? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow horror enthusiasts. Until next time, stay warm and stay vigilant.